I believe in miracles.
Don't say people. I'm doing business here, man.
I don't want anybody tells you words and ideas can change the world.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
90% of what you're saying ain't coming out of your mouth.
From failing, you learn. From success, not so much.
Keep moving forward.
Welcome to the Small Business Miracles Podcast. I'm Jeff Randolph. This small business podcast is brought to you by EAG Advertising and Marketing. We're going to talk about marketing. We're also here to celebrate entrepreneurs. We have marketing news and advice that business owners can use to keep moving forward. This week, we sit down with Joe Beveridge. He's the president and CEO of Russell-Hampton Company. But first, we've got another small business marketing tip to talk about. All right, our marketing tip for today is all about making sure that you check yourself. Just check yourself. I'm going to throw out some things that I have heard over time, and the following are real statements made by leadership about what they know about their customers. When they say, "Who are our customers?" they say things like, "My customers don't buy because they saw an ad." Or, "My customers don't use the website. That's not how we get new customers." Or, "Nobody reads anything anymore." Nobody reads anything anymore. Our customers are all men between 35 and 50. Or, "Our customers don't use Facebook." Or, "We can't advertise in April. Everyone is in Paris in April." Yep, all real things. And while we can laugh at a few of them, there are clearly some miscues in there, right? With analytics these days, a lot of these things are very easy to prove wrong, and we can look at the traffic to your website and even break it down by demographics like age and gender most of the time, and know what time of the day they browse and how long they do that. The point is, as you're thinking about your customers and how to reach them, try to give yourself a little check, and don't just resort back to like the broad general stroke of what you think your customers know from historical times and from meeting somebody. Have somebody look at the demographics and actually prove to you what your customers do and who they are and where they go online. Because another real quick small point to this, your customers change. They change over time because we all change over time. Maybe we didn't use Facebook before, but now we do, or vice versa. Or we only use it for employment-related things because we want to ask people who've been there or who've worked there how their experience was. Or Twitter started as Twitter and then became X. And maybe some people didn't like that, and so they left, or they're using it differently, or it has changed fundamentally in some way. Or there's a new social media channel in town, and it's getting a lot more attention than it used to, or than it ever had. Your audience shifts over time. Make sure you know who your customers are today so that you don't lose out on targeting them tomorrow. Welcome back to the show. I am here with Joe Beveridge. He is president and CEO of Russell-Hampton Company. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, absolutely. And the company, let's talk Russell-Hampton for a minute. The company was founded in 1920, and you are the fourth generation of Rotarian serving as president of the Russell-Hampton Company. You are the world's largest and most respected provider of Rotary Club supplies and awards and personalized gifts and apparel and signage and everything else that goes along with that. Tell us about the Rotary portion of the business.
Absolutely. Yeah, so as you said, the company was founded in 1920. My wife's great-grandfather was in the first Rotary Club downtown Chicago, he and a business partner, they grew tired of trying to obtain supplies in Chicago, and so they thought there should be a convenient one-stop shop, and thus the Russell-Hampton Company was born. And, of course, as everybody would have guessed, their last names were Hepner and McCready.
Yep, that's the way it goes.
Yes. Now, everybody thinks, a lot of people call, ask for Russell, Mr. Hampton, whoever. But, yeah, right. The story is my wife's great-grandfather and her business partner wanted to keep their egos and names out of the business. So the strange but true fact for the day is they had a map of the United States out in front of them, covered their eyes and let their hand fall where it did. And so one landed on Russell County, Kansas, and the other was Hampton County, South Carolina, and that was where the name came from. Strange but true.
That is the most amazing origin story for a name that anybody could ever have. And you've been doing the Rotary side of things for a very long time, where you're supplying all of the Rotary clubs, and this is your busy travel season as well, right? You're out doing everything.
Yep. So exactly. So we, as you said, travel season, Rotary has these, they call them PETS. It's an acronym for President-Elect Training Seminars. So they train all of the incoming presidents around the country for, getting ready to take over their year. And Rotary's year starts July 1st, so it runs July through June. So February and March, we're travel, go. And now April, May, June, we are producing all of the things because every club worldwide is having their year-end awards and recognition banquets. And so, and not just specific to Rotary, but just kind of in our industry in general, people have, their tasks and jobs and whatever those entail. And it's not 100% I was hired or brought on to focus solely on getting club supplies, awards, promotional products, apparel. That's always a piece. And so typically it's the piece that people think of last. And so everything's like, I need this in by Tuesday.
That's right. Oh, when did I have to start ordering all of this that we need? And I've been to the headquarters. I've seen the machines that etch things onto a Yeti or onto and all of the materials that are cut out and all of the awards. Like you have all of that there. It's a fascinating tour.
Yes. So we are super excited about that, and that's one of the benefits because of the longevity over 100 years with Rotary. Is over the years we've just added so many capabilities. And actually, since you've been there last, we did construction. So when you come in now, where that front desk is, that it's all gone. We have a huge, relatively speaking, new boardroom there. And then where we had that printer you saw, we built it its own little cool little room where everything's climate controlled. And so, but yes, that is something that's really unique and cool to Russell-Hampton, because a lot of people in our industry don't actually physically touch or do the
they don't do their own manufacturing of that. Yeah,
it's awesome. And so, we're not trying to do just one piece at a time. That's a tough way to make a living. But the beauty is it gives us a ton of flexibility. And so, especially with our larger clients and in general, you have the big orders, and some of those we may not touch. That might be something that we middleman from the manufacturer, import from overseas. But a lot of it, too, because we can do it, whether it's embroidering one shirt, one hat, one bag, etching one Yeti, printing on one whatever, because it does happen. Hey, we have a board member that's retiring, and we're recognizing him next Thursday. Can I get a Callaway pullover and a Yeti? And, actually, we can do that. So
and that would strike fear into the hearts of most people in your industry, I think. Where they go, no, you can't, and I don't even want you to think about it anymore. Yeah. And you have all of this experience serving Rotary. You also then decided it made sense to be a company apparel and merchandise store as well. Tell us about that side of business.
Yeah, so we had always serviced, non-Rotary corporate clients, other nonprofits. We just weren't intentional about it, but as we were out and about, or people may actually then even be Rotarians that had other, career and or other involved in other groups. And it finally hit a tipping point about 2012, similar timing to when I joined the Hellsberg mentoring program. So it's great. Yeah. So I really focused on that with my mentor as far as growing and starting that piece of the company. But yeah, it just made a ton of sense. So we had a group of people that were doing everything, and it got to a certain point where it made sense to start a separate division. And now we still have one company, and we are working obviously with the same equipment, buying from the same suppliers, so there's a lot of synergies there as far as our purchasing and getting free and bound freight and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been great.
Well, and tell me, like, if you had to summarize that what stands out, what makes you different, why you guys versus somebody else, what is that thing?
Well, I would say a lot of similarities to here at EAG. We call it high touch, high trust. Mm-hmm. We love the whole relationship. So you've been over there. You walk in, you can just feel the family business. There's the dogs, and we love that relationship. We love it when people are so busy, and when they come in and after they're done taking the tour and envisioning all the things we can do, and they're like, yes, I have somebody that will, and so it's off of their plate. They don't have to go search and find everything. We're the resource that does that. We like to get their whole calendar. Sometimes it's there are things you do every year. Hey, we always get these. If it's a maybe it's some sort of lawn care company or painting company, and they have apparel they go through. Could be a company that does awards every year or sponsors a golf tournament. Well, we put those things on our calendars, and so we're coming to them months in advance, not just hey, are you going to order anything, but hey, last year you guys did this. We found 4 items here that we're recommending. Is there anything else you'd like to see? So you couple that with all of the things we can do in-house for large orders, importing, and then small runs, personalization, quick turnaround, and that really is the secret sauce.
And the secret sauce is backed up by a customer service kind of mentality that I'll stand by, because I've got a story about a client that we came to you guys with for some Hawaiian shirts, some custom Hawaiian shirts, and by the end of the process, our person helped us out so much in just thinking through it and thinking through deadlines and finding different suppliers that could meet something very specific, whether that was in the manufacturing of it or in the timing of it, working around holidays in different parts of the planet. And, by the end of it, I think we wanted to buy her one of the shirts and say, thank you very much for doing all of that work to get there. So I'll throw that out just on our own.
Oh, thank you. It's great to hear. We do, on our whole purpose, our business purpose, and everybody knows this, there is to provide exceptional customer experience. And, exceptionals that can bring into mind a lot of thoughts. And so I'm always like, it's not glitter and fireworks, but exceptional is everybody just does that little extra. Yeah, and so whether it's not just customer service on the phone, although, making sure that, we've asked all the right questions, have the details, but a lot of times it goes back to production and somebody's getting ready to etch or engrave something and they catch something that doesn't look right and they make a call and they catch an error, and or even if they don't, they say, hey, this doesn't look like, we just want to verify. It's still those little things. It gets to the shipping room and we're shipping something wherever, and they're like, you know what, you asked that we send it this method, but we could send it this method and it would save you money and still be there by your need by date. It's just a bunch of little things. So we do exactly what we say we're going to do, but providing just that little exceptional extra.
And thank you for doing exactly that. You are already the world's largest and most respected provider of Rotary Club supplies. Recently, you have acquired All-Star Awards and ad specialties as well. Tell us about that and how that's going.
Yes, and so that's been amazing. It's been really interesting. And honestly, sometimes the stars just align. An acquisition was on our calendar, but we were trying to tackle some other events beforehand. But, sometimes opportunity happens when it happens. But in fact, we just celebrated, myself and the previous owners last night, went out for dinner. We had a little delayed on that. So
sure, as a celebration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But it was wonderful. So they have a great business, a couple of locations in the Kansas City area. So it's off of 39th Street, kind of over by KU Med, and then they have a showroom. I say they, now it's all we. Yeah. We have a showroom, yes, over off of 87th and Flum as well. And so they had, they did a good business as far as just financials, but they have it was mutual. What attracted us to them, because they had a larger kind of, more corporate-y, large company buyer, and they selected us over that, and it was because of the cultures. Their culture and our culture, their people and our people, so similar, and that was what's made it. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. Just getting in there, we're getting the nuts and bolts of having, now we're working on systems and software,
system integration, yeah.
And that's a little challenging, but obviously, that going into it. But the people and just being immersed in there and trying to learn, I know we've been in the industry forever, but learning that business exactly and just their processes that they were running has been interesting. I've learned a lot. I think we've both learned a lot. But we were talking about it last night at dinner. It's just, both sides are very grateful that we ran into one another, because it was a chance meeting, actually.
Okay.
So
yeah. Well, sometimes these things happen. It's a great combination of two Kansas City based companies that come together and have that that customer service mentality at its heart, and I can only see great things happening as a result of that. So good acquisition.
Yeah.
It's a question we ask business owners here on the show from time to time. You've been working at Russell-Hampton for nearly 20 years now. You took over as president in 2015. What's something that you did in 2015 that you wouldn't do again today if you had to go back and do that?
Oh man.
It's the rear view mirror. You're looking in the rear view at how you would change things and mistakes maybe that you made earlier, things that you don't bother to do anymore because it just takes up time.
That's a great question. There's so much, and so much of it too is, as they say, as you know better, you do better. And I think education wise, oh man, I'm not sure if I have a specific what I would do differently. I think probably as you age or gain experience, you don't sweat the details quite as much. You would pine like simple things like what clothing, if we're picking polos or something, you'd back and forth, and this one, what do you want, that one? And at the end of the day, you have two quality products, and people don't see all the stuff that goes behind the scenes, and I just would eat up so much of time in life on
thinking
sweating
about all of the different
little
things.
Yes. So I'd probably say that making those decisions and not losing as much sleep on it.
Yeah, when you think back at all the things that you lost sleep about, that you're just like, I didn't really need to. I could get that sleep back. It would be great if I did.
Yeah.
What is next for Russell-Hampton? Where do you go from here?
So right now we're just trying to get through our busy seasons. Both All-Star and Russell-Hampton are in our busiest, I would say, probably 10 weeks of the year. So we're just running right now. But what we're looking to do is complete our year. So getting all of the systems and software, as we mentioned, up and running, and just get that ironed out. Have both sides of the company, and then also, we've been working on a equipment capabilities kind of document for both sides, making sure that we're doing exchanges between production departments and customer service, and just sharing that information, and really taking advantage of our synergies. And then we also added several new pieces of equipment. So we are trying to make, right now we're in the process of sourcing, and we're working with suppliers to get the best products, best pricing. And then we're also working through the EOS process as well. So, nothing's going on.
No, you're just relaxing and kicking back. Man, thanks for carving out time to even talk with us today. I appreciate that. Let's speed things along by getting into the lightning round. Are you ready for the lightning round?
I think so.
All right. You have no way to know what I might ask at this point. And I'll start out that we're going to just jump in and get super deep right away. Legacy is one of those words that carries a lot of burden with it a lot of times. We work with several family-owned, multi-generational kind of businesses, and you can tell that there's more than just the business riding on the company. Do you feel that weight of legacy, or are you able to put that feeling aside and just focus on, today's business?
Sometimes I feel it. It's one of those things where when you're fourth generation and the business has lasted so long, and for a very long time, so I had several years of overlap with my in-laws. And like I said, we do family dinners every Sunday or most Sundays. We're a very tight family. And I think it was probably, there's some generational or they were so close to retirement that their risk tolerant and mine were on opposite ends of the spectrum. So, for all the years I was trying to push, and we need to do this. I see huge opportunities for us, but there's always that shred that's like, man, if you crash this thing into the ground after a century, and they're all looking at you like, I told you. So I would say like that, it's a very small sliver, but every once in a while it creeps in your head. You're like, oh my God, no. But mostly we have both sides of the company have amazing teams. And I would tell you, we have not integrated in EOS over to All-Star yet, just as we have so many irons in the fire. But going through that process, we're not quite a year in. At Russell-Hampton has been amazing. And I'm overly, I don't know if it's a flaw or a fatal flaw, but one of my things is I'm overly inclusive. So, EOS, they have a really good model, but it's pretty rigid. But I will say we're working with David Blackwell, and he's been very flexible with us, which has been great. He's been a great fit for us in general. He's got an energy that matches ours. But usually they want your team to be 4 to 7, and I have like 16.
Oh, okay.
So overly inclusive, but we have a great team, and they bring a lot to the table. And I think David would tell you the same. Anyway,
there's value in having.
Oh,
that there.
absolutely.
Well, good. Yeah, that's always every time there's you're on a board and you become president, you have that. Oh, please don't let this crash on my watch.
Oh my God.
But it's good that you don't feel that every day.
No,
that's just a background noise.
Well, and then there's is there going to be a 5th generation? And I'm like, oh man, that's a ton of pressure, and I don't want to put that pressure on my kids. I don't even want to plant that seed. Like if they have the desire, maybe, but at 12, 14, and 16, that's so far off.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We, one of the things that we have in common is soccer coaching.
Yeah.
And I'll jump into that. But that was always the way I felt about it with my daughter. That I coached women's soccer for all kinds of years, like a decade or so, at some pretty decent high levels. And in doing that, I always thought, hey, if my daughter wants to play, great. But if she doesn't want to play, I'm not going to force her to do that. I've seen too many people who are just sad and don't want to play, would fake an injury to get out of playing, and you don't want that for your kids. So understanding whether that 5th generation is coming is that's interesting.
We'll see. They'll get their work. Maybe start getting them in there for the summers and working. And
if they develop a love for it, and that's a channel that you can feed that, but don't push it. It'll happen if it happens. Let's keep going on the soccer thing for a second, because you are a coach. The 2026 World Cup is coming to Kansas City. Kansas City was lucky enough to have the ability to host a few games, first round and a second round. Do you have a favorite World Cup team?
Well, U.S., of course.
We could talk about this. I will maybe lose some followers if we do, because I may not back that U.S. thing.
Yeah, I mean, love to see them do well, but I don't know. I watch a lot of the Bundesliga, so I love the German teams. Obviously, Brazil's always Brazil.
But Brazil is like if you walk into a casino and say, "Man, I hope the house takes everybody's money today." Right? You're betting on the odds-on favorite. Do you think the U.S. has a shot this year?
No.
Thank you for that.
I'm just going to keep it short. I do think. I mean, just looking at all of the development that that the U.S. is putting into the sport, and just being in Kansas City, soccer capital of the country, right? I don't think that. I think next World Cup might be. Are we going to win it? I don't know. But should we be up there?
Should we be more competitive than
Absolutely.
we are? 100% we should be more competitive than we are.
Like, I feel like we're starting to hit that tipping point. There's so many more players, not just going overseas, but playing prominent roles on prominent teams. And I just give that another World Cup, maybe 2. I mean, it's a long time, but it's going.
It may take that way. As long as we see some of those improvements, as long as we see that there's that we beat the island nation with the population of Cleveland,
yes,
handily every time we play them. That's what should happen.
Yes.
But when it doesn't, and you go, look, you have 5.5 million people to choose from on this team, and we have 500 million. Like, what? Why? Why is this? I talk a lot of trash about the U.S. program, but man, I would love to see them do well. I would so much love to see them do well. So I hope they get that under control.
Yeah, I think it's coming. And even just having people, Messi now. I mean, they're not coming here for their twilight, but still, I mean, wow. I mean, I'm sure you've watched plenty of their games.
Yes.
It's still incredible.
You're still watching great soccer, and I think fans see that and go, yes, this is the way we ought to be. Let's hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I would love to see that happen. I'll move on from soccer. Let's move on from soccer. Relationships matter in your world quite a bit, and you hire product specialists and customer support people who understand their customers' needs and suggest great products that fit that bill. I'm curious what qualities you look for in that frontline staff that make them so amazing to work for. If we look at like Southwest Airlines and famous marketing cases throughout time, they hire differently. They hire for those kinds of skills. What do you do? How do you find that frontline staff? What are you looking for?
What we try to do, now it's not exact science, is, obviously we love people that love people. But, in what we do, you obviously have to have attention to detail. So those are kind of like job requirement, the type. But what we're really looking for is commitment. Are they committed? Do they, are they going to go that extra mile? What do they have a track record of demonstrating that? That's what we really, you have your little for each role, each job. But ultimately, I don't care if it's, like I said, in the shipping room, production, purchasing, or customer service. It's, do you have that in your makeup? Do you genuinely care about things? Are you committed to it? And we're a pretty great place to work. I will say, we have our busy season, and then we have our times that aren't so busy. And so we don't ask for a lot. We just always say the customer comes first. Like, we will do what it takes to fulfill our obligations, do what we said we're going to do. And if that means, man, I got to come in or stay a little later to get it done, we're going to do that. And but on the flip side, there's parts of the year too where we're nice and slow, and so it's a nice balance. And then there's a huge layer of trust. We call it high touch, high trust with customers, but also internally with each other. And I think that creates a world of flexibility. So, say if we all are adults and we take care of our responsibilities, we communicate with our teammates, life happens. People have things they have to go do, and that's great. It creates flexibility, and it's just a good culture. And so that's a long answer to your question.
It is, but that's the answer. I mean, that really is the answer. Let's talk about business travel to kind of wrap a few things up here, because you are in your busiest travel season, getting out there. What is there a best part of business travel for you? Is there a part that is actually rewarding? Is there a part that's fulfilling? Whether that's the purpose of the travel, the people you're seeing, or otherwise.
Oh man, yes. So I'm highly social. And, and so to be clear, this travel is specifically on the Rotary side of the business. And so when they're having all of these, training seminars, and so there might be on a small side 400, and on the bigger side might be, closer to 1,000 people. And these aren't at convention centers. Typically, they're in hotels, large hotels, and we go. And over the years of doing this, nearly 2 decades, the club presidents who are coming in or presidents-elect are new. But the people at the district level that are running these events all went through these ranks, and a lot of them are repeat. So we've built relationships with them, and of course you make a bunch of friends over the years, and even friends with the other vendors. Some, even if it's a competitor. I mean, actually, we acquired a business in Rotary in 2019 because of those relationships. But it's great, and the funny thing is, doing trade show stuff. You're the first one there in the morning. You got to make sure your booth's open and looks presentable. And then you're there until they go into their banquet for dinner, cover it all up. Then you eat. And then, it's not a requirement that we do the hospitalities. And quite frankly, I enjoy them. But it is definitely where a lot of those relationships are solidified.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy it. My wife does not, after like 6 weeks in a row, I'm just dragging, and she's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. And she's home with 3 kids, also dragging, just not having quite as much fun as I did. I mean, not that it's not work, but
right.
Yeah.
Well,
so I'd say yeah.
So it's the relationships, it's the people that you get to see. It's difficult at a Rotary type event not to have that kind of relationship thing develop, where you meet some people who are genuinely pretty cool. Yeah. I know you wove in a lot of the negatives in with that answer. What is the worst part of business travel?
Oh, if I could show up and the booth was magically there and then leave and it just packed itself and came home, the setup and teardown is rough.
It is brutal. Yeah.
It takes like 4 to 5 hours to put it together, and then maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. We've streamlined it. Let's call it 3 to 4 to put up, and 2.5 to 3 to tear down.
That's a lot. That's a heavy lift. That's a heavy lift.
When you've been there up, the booth opens at 7, so you're there at 6:30. Get it open. You work till they go to dinner at 6. Then you pack until 9 or 10. And you're just like, oh my god, you're so tired. So that's the part. If I could have a crew that magically that happened, the job would be great.
So we'll end it on a positive note. When we get back to Kansas City and you're back home, what's the thing you have to have for food? What's the I've missed you for 10 weeks kind of food?
All right. Usually, grilling out. My family's we're big into red meat. So here in the heartland, so it's usually getting some steaks and putting that on the grill.
Perfect.
At home, seeing the family. We're not going anywhere.
Relaxed.
Grilling out. Yes.
Comfy clothes.
Absolutely.
Grill. Excellent. Joe Beveridge, President and CEO of Russell-Hampton Company. Tell us where people can find you. Where can they get more information if they want to set up their own company store, if they want to order all the coolest, latest merch?
Sure, absolutely. So in general, if you would like to go just check things out, I want to go browse, Russell-Hampton.com is our general landing page, and you'll see when you hit that page, there's an option. If you're a Rotary customer, you can go to the Rotary web store. You can go to the corporate web store, is what we call non-Rotary, and on that, it's literally that site pulls from all of the reputable suppliers, or at least most of them. And so there's probably close to 1 million products you can surf and search. And that's what I'm saying. You are welcome to do that all day long, or just call us and we'll do it for you.
They will do it for you.
Absolutely.
You should definitely do that.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, Russell-Hampton.com. Find all the stuff. Joe Beveridge, President and CEO of Russell-Hampton Company. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. And I did want to say also, I'm super accessible. If you want to email me personally, it's joe@ruh.com, and I'm happy to make the introductions. We love to give tours, so we can tell you we do all of these things, but come see us. We have dogs. Hopefully you love dogs too. They're very friendly. Thanks for having me. This has been awesome.
It's a good tour. Thanks so much for being here. And that is our show. Thanks so much to our guest, Joe Beveridge, and thank you for listening to the Small Business Miracles podcast. Remember to subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating and review, drop us a line on the website at eagadv.com if you have any thoughts. Until then, we'll be out here helping entrepreneurs with another Small Business Miracle.